100 years old. You're like, oh, but it all makes sense, doesn't it? When you learn other things, like, oh, actually that bit of the Bible, yeah, that's like true. That little sentence there. But the rest of it, now it's nonsense. Right, tell me about a bloke called Frank Zero.
Well, Frank Zero is one of the super soldier commentators, in that he runs Cosmic Comics in the States. Sorry. The thing about what he's noticed, and a number of other people have noticed, is that the Marvel comics and the Superman and the sort of kind of superhuman transformed people that are in those comics, which Marvel comics and Superman and Wonder Woman and all that, and the X-Men, there seems to be a connection with what's happening now in terms of the transhumanization agenda.
Isn't there a thing that the Illuminati have, that they say we've got to tell them what we're doing? It's our code, it's our code of ethics, and we have to tell them what we're doing.
Yeah. This is the most important thing that you've hit upon. What happens is the reality construct matrix which we exist in is we have got a very unique situation here, that we have got freedom of choice. We can make the decisions,
and this is what they've not got on other planets.
Yes. Now the point about that is, and this is the whole thing about the David Icke situation, and about everybody being told about all this stuff, and in fact I'm doing the same thing myself by exposing you to this scenario of what the plans are. If you don't do anything about it, if you don't say, no, I will not have this, it means that you've actually given them permission to do it. I need a call. So the thing about this is that by us basically, by the general population essentially sitting on their backside and doing virtually nothing about this, we give permission to the Illuminati to do this. There's one thing we can do, and we can simply say, no, we're not going to have this.
Well, I'm sorry, but I mean, look at what's going on. Everyone's kicking off in the world. No one wants it. I mean, even London. London had Occupy. I don't know what it's like now. Well, this
is the point about managed opposition. So the thing about managing opposition is that you need to essentially create a false opposition, and so people then think somebody's protesting about it, and that was one of the situations which happened with the 9/11, where the people actually were managed. The opposition was managed, and some people have suggested that the Occupy movement is a managed opposition. In other words, they get people who think they're protesting against things, but then control it and divert it. That's called managed opposition. And this is a very skilled way of manipulating the opposition. Then if you actually get to people who have if you get to people who are actually effective at doing this, then you isolate them within those managed opposition groups. And this is happening in an awful lot of the forums. Various people who are administrating forums who've been really, really good and are very effective at being in various different forums, and there's all different types of forums out there where people discuss all this sort of stuff. What's happening is that particularly effective members of those forums are subtly being vilified and excluded. So what has to happen is that the young people who are telepathic, the young people who are perceptive, the one thing you've got to do is stay online, stay on your computer, because if you come offline, you immediately become a suspect. The second thing you've then got to do is make sure that you then form small groups which discuss this, and don't tell anybody about it. Don't tell your friends, and be really careful on who you invite into those groups. And this is where you've got to start learning how to detect people who've got implants, and you can do this fairly cheaply and fairly simply. There was a group in St. Anne's-on-Sea this weekend where people were being scanned for these implants, and they got about 70 people who had implants.
Oh,
so it means that the basic logic to this situation is that the whole population is being mass implanted. Now, these are physical implants in various parts of the body, like the eye. If people would like to see one of the most brave and fantastic people we've encountered in the last year was Marie Kayali. She's gone through a full implant scan in the Amash in America series, where you can actually see her undergoing a series of tests with magnetic meters, E field meters, that's electric field meters, or B field meter, which is a magnetic meter, or a radio frequency meter, or a simple thing like a stud finder. Now, this on the face of it sounds a bit silly, that some of you buy in a hardware store, but a recalibratable stud finder is a simple and relatively easy way of detecting implants in the body.
Yeah.
But one of the other ways of detecting whether you've encountered dodgy elements is to get a thing called a mineral lamp. In other words, a lamp which has got ultraviolet B and ultraviolet C frequencies, which allow you to see. You have to do this in total darkness. And remember, with those higher energy frequencies, you don't want to look at that too long. Yeah. So the idea is to scan the body, and if you end up with luminescence on your body, it means something has been touching you.
What colour would it be?
There's about 3 or 4 different colours.
Do you know? I know it sounds.
Essentially, it looks like the luminous highlighter pens, and you'll see that somebody's grabbed you by the throat or the neck or the body, and you'll actually see this. And this stuff doesn't wash off. The point about it is, this stuff, when you've been abducted and they've actually physically touched you, whoever these beings are.
Are these people, right, that are being abducted, are they being abducted by humans or ETs?
Well, we've got to be careful about the ET thing. The ET thing, extraterrestrial, gets us all looking up at the sky.
Yeah.
We've got to be very careful about. We have got a large series of non-human entities on this planet, and they've been here a lot longer than we have. We've got to understand
and it's
that we are the visitors.
It's these that are eating the kids. Then Draco's
Draco and all that sort of stuff. But the point is, with a mineral lamp, which you can buy on eBay, a quick check can just simply see if you've been touched by something which has got a higher energetic frequency than normal, and it will leave a physical trace on your skin, and you can see it with your own eyes, and that means you know that particular person has had contact within the last month with something. The more intense it is, the more recent.
And the government know this?
The government completely know all this. The government has got a problem in that, the government's compromised, and many of the people in the government are there to actually destroy us. There are people within these secret services and the military, as I explained with John Irwin, going back 50 years, 60 years, that have been trying to fight this. So what we are now at a stage is, we are now at the final stage where coherent adults can actually do something about this. And one of the first things is simply saying, no, you're not going to do this. Don't give your permissions away. The trick that the so-called Illuminati are using is, because we are living in a planet of choice, literally. It's our choice. If we give our permissions away to the enemy to destroy us, then they get the go-ahead. That's why they have to tell us that what their plans are. And what happens is, they tell us what their plans are, and everybody says, no, it can't happen
like
here. Don't be so silly. You've immediately given them the red light, the green light to we're now living in the final 20 years
end of days, isn't it,
of humanity.
And this kill shot, have you heard the kill shot with this?
There's the Kill Shot DVD by Colonel Ed Dames, and that is to do with the solar problem. And at the moment, anybody who's looking up at the sky in the planet, with all the planets, the whole solar system is changing, becoming more energetic. And if you look at what's happening on the sun, there are major changes happening on the sun.
Well, we've just found a big hole on it.
There's a big hole in the sun. Now, the point about this is, the physics that we are using about where our origins are, and there's a wonderful woman called Dr. Samantha Mangier, I think her name is. Now she has published a book called Punk Science, and she's a wonderful lady. And she spoke at the Glastonbury Symposium 10 days ago, and there's another brilliant new physicist called Nassim Haramein. Now, if you study their basic view on physics, the current paradigm in the universe is we had a big bang, and everything's been happening since then, and that happened billions of years ago, and basically 95% of the universe is what's called dark matter.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the point about this phrase, in other words, they don't know what's going on with 95% of the universe, but they know. They know absolutely what's in the universe, but 95% of it they haven't a clue.
Do you know what gets me? Do you know what really gets me? You know, like they have these telescopes now, and they say they can see 25,000 light years, but they can't see what's on the moon. I don't get it.
Well, this is the whole distraction thing. Get a big telescope, look out there, but don't look what's right under your nose.
Yeah.
So the new physics is basically saying that that physical matter is a very rare state of energy, and it's like a crystallization of energy at a very rare state. And all atoms, all planets, all suns are basically dynamic black holes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not vibrating on a different.
Yeah, at a certain level around that force field of the black hole, you will have a crystalline layer of matter which forms a planet. And I'm putting things in very simple terms.
Yeah.
Now, the point is that studies of the way the volcanic eruptions happening see there's a certain spiraling of energy which comes from these things, and the scientists are beginning to say that this is a signature of the so-called black hole in the Earth. Now, the point about the dynamics of black holes is that this is a hyperdimensional, multi-dimensional universe we're dealing with. The flat Earth people, or the flat scientists, I call them the flat Earth scientists, insist on linear time and insist on a three-dimensional universe that can only be. So we're dealing with a very dynamic, multi-dimensional situation. The point is that John Irwin's people, way back in the 1950s, were recovering technology which gave you the gateways, the keys to the gates to access these interdimensional portals. Okay? Now that's 50, 60 years ago. Okay? So they managed to recover that and block the Illuminati's progress in the destruction of humanity. Now what's happening now is that the Illuminati are cranking up the termination phase into the last generation. They can't allow these starseed children to evolve, which means the starseed children have to, the people being fed Ritalin, the bright young kids, these brilliant minds of brilliant new humanity are being dulled into a complete sense of despair in the education system, because the education system's designed to do that. Okay.
And then they're suddenly all these kids have got ADHD.
Yes, and
that was never around when I was a kid.
Exactly, because they don't want the kids to wake up. Those kids have to basically stay safe and keep well out of the way of the horizon. But they've got to keep themselves below the radar, literally, because the radar systems are able to detect a higher energy auric field in humans, and they can spot you literally on radar.
Wow.
Now, I'm paraphrasing a few things here.
Yeah.
Now, this is the whole point about the Super Soldier Summit, where there's a professor, Dr. Robert Duncan, from the Mind Hacking Strategy Group, where what they're actually doing, the ultimate goal is Project Soulcatcher, which British Telecom was talking about in the 1990s from the Open University. The idea was to capture every electrical stimuli and put it into a computer, so that your children could then experience your life.
No, thank you.
So this is called transhumanization, and there's a guy called Tom Horn, a United States, an American investigative journalist, has done a lot of work on this, and this is the kind of technology that they did at Atlantis. This stuff is not new; it's been done before, where they want to create a matrix reality, where we have artificial humans living in a sort of a massive computer or artificial intelligence system.
Atlantis did exist.
Yeah. And the point about this is exactly what the centrally generated electricity system is designed to do. It's an artificial intelligence. It's an early form of